Gender-based violence is still on the rise and police are not helping victims. That's according to a report by the Commission for Gender Equality. It found high levels in Gauteng, KZN, the Eastern Cape as well as the Western Cape. Now this morning, Police Minister Bheki Cele is hosting an Imbizo Ya Madoda. It's aimed at getting men involved in the fight against GBV. Let's go now live to our reporter Monique Mortlock, who's in Khayelitsha. Good morning, Monique. What are we expecting from this Imbizo Ya Madoda?
I just quickly want my colleague Mario to show you just how full the hall is, and this is a half an hour before the event is set to start, and you can see here are dozens of men from different parts of Khayelitsha joining this morning's Imbizo Ya Madoda, and this is exactly what Police Minister Bheki Cele spoke about last month when he was doing the tavern dialogues at Rands, and it was here when they were doing the tavern dialogues speaking about the role that men play in tackling GBV, where the minister said, you know what I'm seeing before me is mainly women, and what we need to see is men and boys and young men attending events like this to talk about the scourge of GBV and the scourge of femicide. And to chat to me more, I'm speaking to Victor Pike from the NGO, from an NGO that actually speaks to this, speaking to men. Tell me about the importance of not only including men, but making men the central part when we're speaking about tackling GBV, tackling femicide, because this is something Minister Bheki Cele said. It's not enough to speak to the women. The women aren't always the main perpetrators of these crimes.
You see, we are running a campaign about gender-based violence where we do awareness, we do training, we do workshops. Men are broken out there, men need help, men are wounded. So we're dealing with the wounded men, because the reason why men are perpetrators of gender-based violence and femicide is because some men are wounded, and we have the issue of fatherlessness, the absenteeism of fathers to the boy child. So we're encouraging all men to reconnect with their sons, because those sons who are carrying guns, those sons who are abusing alcohol, substance abuse, is because of the lack of fathers in their lives. So we are here to speak to men to men, talk. We are going to say to men, let us stand up, let us fight gender-based violence. There is no excuse for gender-based violence and femicide. We need to rise as men. We want to rise, what we call it, champion men. We want to mentor men. We want to mentor boys who are broken, who are wounded, who feel that they don't have fathers. We want to encourage all these men to go back and seek for their children and seek for their boys where they are. They must come closer to their boys. They must connect with their boy child so that we can fight this pandemic, this disease called gender-based violence and femicide.
And how likely is an Imbizo like this one how likely is it that it will prevent a man, for example, who might be here, who might have a tendency to inflict violence upon women? How likely is it to actually seep into his brain and for him to be like, you know what, I need to change my ways? Or do you think more is needed besides having a talk shop like this one?
Intervention like this are very important, and we need to sustain. We don't have to have events. We are on the ground, we are working with men daily as No Excuse Father Nation, whereby we reach men in different corners. We even go to shebins where men are most vulnerable. I even go to the highways where men are waiting for someone to employ them. You understand? Because the other thing that causes gender-based violence is unemployment. We need to speak to those men in those areas to say, even if there's nothing for you to put on the table, you're still a man. You can still fight gender-based violence. So we are not only ending here. Myself, with my team, we continue reach men where men are. We are seeking men each and every street. We want to reach men and say, let us stand up. It's time for men to say no excuse for gender-based violence and femicide.
And my last question, how big of a problem is GBV and femicide here in Khayelitsha? We know that it is one of the top precincts when it comes to assaults on women, the murder rate, cases of extortion. But when we're talking about GBV and femicide, how big of a problem is it here?
It is a big problem. Women have been killed almost every week. women and children, girls have been raped by these men. So it's a big problem. It's a scourge. It's a pandemic. So we need to stand up. I'm glad that I see many men like this, only men, to talk men to men and say, men, what went wrong? Why are we becoming like this? We say, men, don't hide behind religion. Don't hide behind tradition. Because we grew up and then we were told by our fathers that men don't cry. That is a lie. Men must cry out because men, they bottle up. Once they bottle up, then they grow up with that anger, and then they will take that anger out and kill a woman. So we are saying there is no excuse for gender-based violence and femicide.
Thank you so much. Powerful words there from Victor Pike, from Father Nation and NGO. This is just one of the role players taking part in today's Imbizo Ya Madoda. It's an Imbizo for men, and as you can see behind me, many people are still making their way into this hall at the Desmond Mpilo Tutu Hall here in Khayelitsha, and this is exactly what Minister Bheki Cele wanted. This is what he called for last month when he was in Khayelitsha at RAND, saying that he doesn't want to see more women than men at events like this one, where they're speaking about how to tackle GBV, the role that alcohol plays, and as you heard from Victor Pike, also the role that unemployment plays, and all of these other socio-economic issues.
Hopefully it will yield those positive results, because men do need to be part of the solution to this GBV scourge. Thank you very much. We'll leave it there for now. That's reporter Monique Mortlock. Now, still to come.